Do you know the greatest secret of wealth? It is not money, it is imagination. A man or woman is rich not because of what lies in their bank, but because of what they carry in their mind. Wealth begins in consciousness, and unless you assume the feeling of wealth now, you will forever chase shadows. You see, the millionaire version of you already exists. It lives in the realm of imagination, awaiting your recognition. When you close your eyes and walk inwardly as the one who already possesses, you are not pretending, you are aligning with truth. What you dare to assume as real in your inner world must externalize itself in the outer world. This is law. So how do you act as the millionaire now? Begin in silence. Enter the state akin to sleep and feel the joy of already living in abundance. Hear the congratulations of friends. See yourself signing checks, giving freely, living without worry. Let the thrill of financial freedom surge through your being. In that state, you are sowing the seed of wealth. Carry this assumption into your waking hours. Walk with the confidence of one who already owns it all. Speak not of lack, for lack is but a shadow. Instead, speak as one fulfilled. Every act, however small, should spring from the consciousness of abundance. You are not becoming a millionaire. You are revealing the millionaire that you already are within. My friend, dare to believe. Persist in your assumption, and the world will bend to your inner conviction. Do not wait for evidence, create it by the power of your imagination. The millionaire you is here, now. Claim it, live it, and watch the outer world transform. Wealth begins in the imagination, not in the bank, for the true source of riches lies within consciousness. The outer world is only a mirror reflecting the state of mind you consistently occupy. A person may hold millions in their account and still feel poor, while another with nothing can dwell in the assurance of abundance. Imagination is the womb of creation, the silent workshop where fortune is formed long before it takes shape in matter. When you dare to feel prosperous within, circumstances rearrange themselves to honor that assumption, and wealth flows as a natural expression of your inner state. The millionaire version of you already exists within, waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. It is not something you must create from nothing. It is already alive in the unseen realm of imagination. Every possible version of yourself exists as a state of consciousness, and the moment you decide to occupy that state, you begin to align with it. The millionaire self is not about possessions alone, but about a mindset of abundance, confidence, and freedom. It thinks differently, speaks differently, and walks with an assurance that life bends in its favor. To embody it now, you must feel what that self feels. See through its eyes, act from its convictions, and let your imagination saturate your mind with images of success, generosity, and fulfillment. Each time you assume this identity inwardly, you call it forth into the world of facts. The outer life is nothing but a projection of inner belief. So when you faithfully identify with the millionaire within, the external world cannot help but reflect it. You are not striving to become something distant. You are awakening to what already exists in the invisible realm of your own consciousness, ready to be lived and experienced as your reality. Assume the feeling of wealth now, not in the future, for the future is only an illusion that keeps abundance just out of reach. When you say, "One day I will be rich," you are pushing the experience of wealth away from yourself, affirming that it is not yet yours. The key is to feel it now, to clothe yourself inwardly with the sensation of already having what you desire. Imagination does not work with tomorrow. It only responds to the state you occupy in this present moment. The law is simple. That which you feel to be true now will harden into fact. Begin by stepping into the atmosphere of wealth within your inner world. Close your eyes and sense what it would be like to wake each day knowing you are financially free. Imagine the ease of paying every bill without concern, the joy of giving generously, the freedom of choosing without restriction. Let these feelings wash over you until they feel natural, until they no longer feel like a dream, but like your reality. Carry this feeling into your daily life. Walk, speak, and act from this inner certainty. Do not wait for your senses to confirm it, for your senses only echo what you have already assumed. When you live inwardly in the state of wealth, your outer world must reorganize itself to match. This is not wishful thinking, it is law. The outer cannot resist the inner for long. because consciousness is the one and only reality. To assume wealth now is to plant the seed of riches in the soil of imagination, and once planted and nourished with persistence, it must grow into visible expression in your life. Imagination creates reality, assumption externalizes. Every visible thing in your life was first conceived as an unseen image in the mind, whether you were aware of it or not. The chair you sit on, the clothes you wear, the building you enter, all began in the imagination of someone who dared to conceive it. Nothing appears in the outer world without first existing in the inner realm. This is the eternal truth. Consciousness is the only cause, and imagination is its creative power. When you deliberately assume a state and persist in it, that assumption takes root and expresses itself as fact. To understand this is to unlock the secret of creation. You no longer wait on circumstances to dictate what you may or may not have. Instead, you decide what you are by the inner act of assumption. If you assume wealth, love, health, or success, and sustain that inner conviction, life rearranges itself to mirror your belief. It is not effort, nor struggle, nor outer action alone that produces change, but the quiet inner knowing that what you imagine is already true. The assumption, held with feeling, compels the world of facts to conform. Think of imagination as the soil and assumption as the seed. The moment you assume a state, you have planted it in the fertile ground of consciousness. Just as a seed does not immediately appear as a tree but grows in secret until it manifests, so too your assumptions unfold quietly until they harden into visible reality. Many dismiss this process because they cannot see the immediate results, but the unseen work is the most powerful. Your only task is to remain faithful to the state you have chosen, not to waver between belief and doubt. Every transformation in history, every invention, every personal achievement has followed this law. The individual imagines a possibility, assumes it to be true, and persists until it is made visible. You are no different. The reality you desire already exists as a state in imagination, waiting for your recognition. By assuming it with conviction and living from it as though it were already true, you guarantee its externalization. The world is but a shadow of your inner activity. An assumption is the bridge from the invisible to the visible. Enter the state akin to sleep and feel abundance, for it is in this sacred doorway between waking and sleeping that imagination wields its greatest power. When the body begins to relax and the mind grows quiet, you slip into a state where the conscious resistance fades and the subconscious becomes open and receptive. This is the place where seeds of belief are sown deeply, where impressions are imprinted upon the very fabric of your being. To use this state wisely is to hold in your hands the key to transforming your entire life. As you prepare for this state, allow your body to rest comfortably, letting go of the tensions of the day. Breathe deeply and slowly, feeling your awareness sink inward. The outer world grows distant, yet you are not fully asleep. You hover on the edge of consciousness, aware but relaxed, awake yet dreaming. In this condition, the mind is pliable, impressionable, and able to accept the reality you present to it without argument. Here you must feel as though abundance is already yours. Do not think of it as something you are trying to get. Think from it, live in it, embody it in your imagination. Picture yourself surrounded by the evidence of wealth. See your home as beautifully furnished, your accounts full, your life overflowing with opportunities. Feel the ease of living without worry, the confidence of financial freedom, the joy of generosity. Hear the sound of others congratulating you, thanking you for your success, acknowledging the abundance that flows from your life. Let every detail become vivid, as though it were happening now. The subconscious accepts feeling as fact, and what you feel in this state is imprinted upon it with power. Remain in this sensation until it feels natural, until it no longer feels like a fantasy, but like a memory being relived. Do not strain, for effort only awakens the conscious mind. Simply relax and allow the feeling of abundance to saturate you. The more real it feels here, the faster it will externalize in the world of facts. When you awaken, carry this inner certainty with you. Walk throughout the day remembering the abundance you experienced in the state akin to sleep. Do not fall back into the habit of lack or doubt, for that would uproot the seed you have just planted. Instead, protect it with persistence and faith. knowing that the outer world is compelled to reflect the inner assumption. This practice, done faithfully, becomes a nightly ritual of creation. Each time you enter this state and feel abundance, you are watering the seed of prosperity, ensuring its growth into visible expression. In time, your life will bear the unmistakable fruit of the inner images you have nurtured in the silence of imagination. Visualize the joy, freedom, and generosity of wealth, for true riches are not merely numbers on a screen or paper stored in banks, but a state of being that transforms the way you think, feel, and live. When you call upon your imagination to see yourself living as one already blessed with abundance, you awaken a power far greater than effort or striving. The act of visualization is not idle daydreaming. It is the deliberate planting of seeds in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Whatever you consistently see and feel within, you inevitably invite into your outer life. Begin by closing your eyes and entering the inner theater of imagination. Picture yourself waking each morning in an atmosphere of ease and gratitude, knowing that wealth flows freely and effortlessly into your life. Imagine walking through your home, spacious and beautiful, furnished exactly to your taste. Feel the textures, notice the details. Breathe in the sense of comfort and luxury that surrounds you. These images are not fantasy, they are blueprints of the reality you are choosing to align with. Now focus on the joy of wealth. Visualize yourself doing the things you love without hesitation or worry. See yourself traveling to places you have always desired, enjoying experiences that once seemed distant dreams. Feel the happiness of having choices, of living a life directed by inspiration rather than limitation. Let this joy expand in your heart until it feels natural, until it belongs to you in the present moment. Shift your attention to the freedom that wealth brings. Imagine the lightness of living without financial fear. Bills are no longer burdens, but simple transactions easily handled. Opportunities present themselves, and you are free to say yes without hesitation. Visualize the relief of releasing old anxieties, the confidence of walking through life as one who is secure, empowered, and unlimited. In your imagination, feel what it is to live without restraint, to design each day according to your highest desires. Finally, see the generosity of wealth. Imagine yourself giving freely to family, friends, and causes that inspire you. Feel the deep satisfaction of knowing you have more than enough, so much that you can bless others abundantly. Picture the gratitude in the eyes of those you help, hear their voices thanking you, sense the fulfillment that comes from lifting others with your overflow. This is the true spirit of wealth, not hoarding, but circulating, not clinging, but sharing. Remain in this visualization until the feelings of joy, freedom, and generosity are deeply impressed upon your consciousness. Do not rush, for each moment spent in this state strengthens the roots of abundance within you. The subconscious does not distinguish between imagination and fact. It accepts as real what you feel with conviction. Therefore, as you saturate your inner world with these images and emotions, you are shaping the reality that must inevitably unfold in your outer experience. Practice this daily, letting your imagination become the workshop of your wealth. Each session is a rehearsal for the life you are choosing, a preparation for the inevitable manifestation of your desires. By visualizing joy, freedom, and generosity, you are not waiting for riches to arrive. You are living from the consciousness of abundance now, and life has no choice but to reflect that state in the world you call real. Speak and act as though you are already fulfilled, for the words you utter and the behaviors you embody are not casual. They are creative forces shaping the very structure of your life. Every statement, every gesture, every tone carries within it an assumption about who you believe yourself to be. If you speak as one lacking, struggling, or waiting, then you reinforce that state of being and extend its life. But when you deliberately speak and act from the position of fulfillment, even if outward appearances seem unchanged, you are declaring to the subconscious that the desired reality is already yours, and the subconscious must honor that conviction. To live this way is not to pretend or to deceive, but to align with truth, for the unseen reality of fulfillment exists already in imagination. The world you desire is not created from the outside in, it is called forth from the inside out. When you speak as though you are successful, loved, wealthy, or free, you are not fabricating. You are giving voice to the reality that has been conceived in the invisible. The outer world will eventually conform to your speech. For words clothed in conviction are seeds planted in the subconscious, destined to externalize. Begin by noticing the language you use daily. Do you speak of what you lack, of what you hope might happen one day, of the difficulties you face? Each of these statements is an affirmation of limitation. Transform your language by speaking from the state of fulfillment. Instead of saying, I will be wealthy, declare in quiet confidence, I live in abundance. Instead of saying, I hope love will find me, affirm with assurance, I am surrounded by love. The words may feel unnatural at first, but persist until they become your natural expression. As you continue, you will notice your emotions shifting, and what once seemed like forced statements will begin to feel like self-evident truths. In the same way, let your actions reflect the identity you have assumed. If you are the fulfilled self, how do you walk? How do you sit? How do you carry yourself? Adopt the posture, the demeanor, the small habits that align with the life you claim. This does not mean reckless spending or ignoring present responsibilities. It means embodying the calm assurance, the gratitude, and the composure of one who already lives in their desired state. When you move through the world with that inner confidence, others respond to you differently, opportunities arise, and life begins to rearrange itself to mirror your assumption. Consider how a fulfilled individual handles challenges. They do not collapse into fear or complaint, but remain steady, knowing that their desired outcome is secure. Practice this steadiness in your own life. When confronted with temporary appearances of lack or delay, act from the place of inner certainty, rather than reacting to the surface condition. By doing so, you prove to your subconscious that your fulfillment is more real than any passing circumstance, and this conviction speeds the externalization of your desire. Living as though you are already fulfilled also requires imagination. In quiet moments, picture yourself engaged in the life you have chosen. Hear yourself speaking words of gratitude for blessings already received. See yourself interacting with others as the person who has already arrived. Let these inner rehearsals become so vivid that they spill into your waking actions. The more natural it feels within, the more easily you will speak and act from that state without effort. Every fulfilled word spoken and every fulfilled action taken is a declaration of identity. You are impressing upon your subconscious, this is who I am, and the subconscious accepts without argument. In time, the outer world, which is only a shadow of your inner life, must reflect this identity. To speak and act as though you are already fulfilled is to live in the end. To occupy the state of your desire with such faith that nothing in the outer world can shake it. It is the daily practice of aligning your inner world with the life you claim, until the two become indistinguishable. Refuse to entertain thoughts of lack or limitation. For every idea you allow to linger in your mind takes root and begins to shape the circumstances of your life. Thoughts are not idle, they are seeds, and the soil of consciousness never rejects what is planted. When you dwell on scarcity, fear, or insufficiency, you are watering the weeds of limitation. The world then mirrors back to you what you have nourished within. To rise above this pattern, you must become vigilant, guarding the doorway of the mind as a watchman who refuses entry to any thought that contradicts the abundance and freedom you seek to live. Lack is nothing more than a belief in separation from the infinite supply that already exists within you. Everything you desire already has its reality in imagination, and the only barrier between you and its expression is the acceptance of contrary ideas. If you accept poverty as natural, if you believe limitation is inevitable, then you bind yourself to those experiences. But if you deliberately refuse to give such thoughts a home, you loosen their grip and open the way for abundance to flow. This is not a denial of reality, but a recognition that reality itself is shaped by imagination and sustained by assumption. Every time a thought of lack arises, perhaps fear about money, worry about opportunities, or doubt about your worth, you have a choice. You can accept it, let it take root, and live its consequences, or you can reject it and replace it with the consciousness of abundance. To refuse does not mean to fight with thoughts or suppress them with strain. It means calmly recognizing them as false and withdrawing your attention. Attention is the lifeblood of creation, and whatever you feed with attention grows stronger. The moment you shift attention from lack to fulfillment, from limitation to freedom, you starve the former and energize the latter. Practice this throughout the day. When you feel the tug of worry, remind yourself that worry is only imagination misused. Instead of imagining what could go wrong, imagine what is already right. Visualize the outcome you desire with such vividness that it captures your emotional energy. Feel yourself already in possession of the solution, the wealth, the opportunity, the freedom. In that instant, you have refused lack and chosen abundance. Persist, and the subconscious accepts this as fact, compelling the world of experience to align. The refusal to entertain limitation is also a discipline of speech. Words spoken in complaint, fear, or doubt are confirmations of the very state you wish to escape. Listen to yourself carefully. Do you talk about how hard things are, how little you have, how uncertain the future feels? Each of these words is a thread weaving limitation deeper into your life. To refuse lack is to refuse to give it voice. Speak instead from the place of fulfillment. Say, I always have enough. I live in abundance. Everything I need flows to me freely. Though at first these words may feel untrue, they will gradually saturate the subconscious, and the outer world must eventually give them substance. Your actions too must reflect this refusal. A mind that entertains lack acts timidly, hesitates, and shrinks from opportunity. A mind that rests in abundance acts with calm assurance, with generosity, and with faith. This does not mean reckless behavior, but it does mean carrying yourself as one who trusts in supply rather than fearing its absence. Walk with the posture of sufficiency. Give freely, even if the gift seems small, for the very act of giving declares, I am not lacking. Each gesture of confidence reinforces the inner state of abundance. To live this way requires persistence, for the world may tempt you with appearances of lack. Bills, responsibilities, delays, all may present themselves as evidence that scarcity is real. Yet you must remember that appearances are only reflections of past assumptions. They are shadows, not substance. To dwell on them is to repeat them, but to ignore them and persist in the inner vision of abundance is to create something new. Neville Goddard taught that the outer world cannot resist the inner conviction. Hold firmly to the feeling of plenty, and in time the facts will rearrange themselves to match. When you master the art of refusing thoughts of limitation, you step into true freedom. No longer are you at the mercy of circumstance. No longer do you live in reaction to appearances. You become the master of your inner world, and because the inner creates the outer, you also become the master of your destiny. This is the great truth. Abundance is not earned, it is assumed. Limitation is not imposed, it is accepted. Refuse to accept it, and it dissolves, for it has no life of its own apart from your belief. Every day is an opportunity to practice. Guard your mind with determination, replace every thought of lack with the assurance of plenty, and let your imagination dwell in the richness of fulfillment. Refuse limitation in thought, in word, and in action, and you will awaken to the life of abundance that has always been yours within. Persist in your inner conviction until it hardens into fact, for conviction is the very force that gives substance to the unseen and brings it into the realm of experience. Every desire you hold, every vision you nurture, already exists in the invisible. It is present as a state of consciousness, waiting only for your unwavering acceptance to make it visible. To persist is to remain faithful to the assumption of fulfillment, even when every outward appearance argues against it. It is the ability to hold firm in imagination while the world tempts you to doubt, to cling to the end in mind while the senses show only the beginning. When you first assume a new state, it may feel unnatural. You may declare yourself wealthy while bills sit unpaid. You may affirm health while symptoms linger. You may imagine love while loneliness surrounds you. In these moments, the temptation is to abandon the assumption and surrender to appearances. But here lies the test. Will you let the visible world dictate your belief, or will you insist upon your conviction until the visible world bends? The law is clear. What you assume with persistence must externalize. The outer cannot resist the inner forever, for the outer is only a shadow of the inner. Persistence is not strain, nor is it the frantic effort of trying to make things happen. Persistence is quiet confidence, a steady dwelling in the state of the wish fulfilled. It is revisiting the inner vision again and again, not to force it, but to feel it as natural. Each time you return to the end in imagination, you are reinforcing its reality within consciousness. You are training your mind to accept the new state as fact, and the subconscious, once impressed, will compel circumstances to match. Think of persistence as planting a seed. No farmer expects a seed to sprout the moment it is buried in the soil. He knows it grows in silence beneath the surface, invisible for a time. If he were to dig it up each day to check its progress, he would destroy it. Instead, he waters it, trusts the process, and waits with patience, knowing that the harvest is certain. In the same way, your assumption is the seed, the inner conviction is the watering, and persistence is the trust that, though unseen for a season, the manifestation must come. Doubt is the great destroyer of assumption. Every time you indulge in doubt, you are uprooting the seed, delaying its growth. This is why persistence is essential. It is not about force, but about consistency. When doubt arises, do not fight it with fear. Simply return to the state of fulfillment. Reimagine the end. Feel the joy of already having it. See the world congratulating you. Hear the words that would be spoken if your desire were realized. Each return to conviction weakens doubt, until doubt has no place to stand. Persistence also requires patience, for the outer world has its own rhythm. What you assume today may not appear tomorrow, but it is already in motion. The world of facts is slower to respond than the world of imagination, yet it cannot resist forever. Every conviction sustained shapes events, attracts opportunities, and rearranges circumstances. You may not see the threads being woven, but behind the curtain of appearances, the pattern is forming. Do not be discouraged by delays, for they are only appearances, and appearances are powerless before sustained assumption. As you persist, notice how your feelings begin to shift. What once felt like imagination becomes natural. You no longer struggle to believe, belief becomes effortless. The conviction that once required effort now feels like the most obvious truth. This is the sign that your assumption has impressed itself upon the subconscious. From here, externalization is inevitable. Life must mirror what is natural within you. Persistence is also a practice of discipline. Each day you will be tempted to look at facts, to discuss problems, to complain about delays. Each of these is a betrayal of your conviction. To persist, you must guard your speech, your thoughts, and your reactions. Speak only from the state of fulfillment. Act only as one who already possesses. Think only in alignment with your chosen end. This discipline does not bind you. It frees you, for it keeps you anchored in the reality you desire, rather than the one you wish to transcend. Remember that the world you experience today is the result of past assumptions. What you assumed yesterday has already hardened into the facts you now see. If you dislike those facts, do not despair. They are only shadows of an old state. Begin now to assume differently, persist in it, and tomorrow must bring a new harvest. The law is unwavering. The outer cannot hold against the inner forever. So persist, even when nothing seems to change, for change is already occurring in the unseen. There is immense power in the individual who refuses to abandon their conviction. History is filled with examples of those who held to a vision long before others could see it. They lived in the end, spoke as though it were already real, acted as though it could not fail, and in time the world bowed to their persistence. You are no different. Your vision is as real, your assumption as potent, your persistence as powerful. Persist in your inner conviction until it hardens into fact, for this is the unfailing path from desire to fulfillment. The moment you refuse to waver, the moment you decide that what you have imagined is already yours, you set in motion forces that cannot be stopped. And though appearances may resist, though delays may arise, your persistence will wear them down, until at last the inner world you sustained with faith and imagination stands revealed as the outer world you call reality. The millionaire you is not distant. It is here, waiting to be lived, For every version of yourself already exists within consciousness, and you are free to choose which version you will embody. Too often people believe that wealth, success, and freedom are far away, somewhere in the distant future, accessible only after years of effort, struggle, and sacrifice. But in truth, the state of being a millionaire already resides within you as a possibility, a fully formed identity, ready to be claimed in this present moment. Imagination is the bridge between who you appear to be now and who you desire to become. And when you step into that identity inwardly, the outer world has no choice but to conform. To live as the millionaire you must first recognize that wealth is not a number, but a state of consciousness. A person can hold great sums in their account and yet feel poor, anxious, and insecure, while another with far less can live with the assurance, gratitude, and confidence of abundance. It is the inner sense of wealth that determines the outer expression of it. When you assume the feeling of the millionaire, you align with the consciousness of abundance, and this assumption shapes your actions, your words, your opportunities, and eventually your results. Begin by withdrawing your attention from appearances of lack. The senses may insist that you are limited, that wealth is absent, that opportunities are scarce. But these are only reflections of past assumptions. They are shadows, not substance. The millionaire you is already present in the invisible realm of imagination, and it becomes visible only when you turn your attention to it and clothe yourself with its reality. Each time you dwell in the state of wealth inwardly, you are moving closer to its externalization, not by force, but by natural law. Close your eyes and enter the inner world where imagination is free. See yourself living as the millionaire. Notice the surroundings, the home, the ease with which you carry yourself. Feel the texture of fine clothing, the comfort of financial freedom, the peace of never worrying about bills or obligations. Hear the voices of others congratulating you, acknowledging your success, thanking you for your generosity. Let these impressions become vivid until they no longer feel like fantasy, but like memory. The subconscious mind accepts what you feel as real, and once it accepts, it compels the world to mirror it. Living as the millionaire you is not about reckless spending or pretending outwardly. It is about embodying the consciousness of abundance in thought, word, and action. Ask yourself daily, how would the millionaire version of me think, speak, and behave? Would I complain of lack or give thanks for plenty? Would I shrink from opportunities or walk with confidence? Would I withhold generosity or share freely, knowing more always flows to me? Each time you choose the latter, you align yourself with the identity of the millionaire. The millionaire you is not impatient, for wealth is secure. The millionaire you does not doubt, for success is natural. The millionaire you is not burdened by fear, for freedom is the atmosphere in which it lives. When you take on this state of being, you are no longer chasing wealth, you are living from it. And when you live from it inwardly, the world must bring you the evidence outwardly. For imagination creates reality, and assumption externalizes. Persistence is the secret. You cannot visit the state once and expect instant transformation. Just as a seed must be watered and nurtured until it grows into a tree, your inner assumption must be revisited until it feels natural. Each time you return to the state of wealth in imagination, you deepen its roots within consciousness. Eventually, the state of being a millionaire becomes second nature, and once it feels natural within, the outer world cannot help but reflect it. Guard your speech, for words reveal the state you occupy. Speak not of debts, shortages, or struggles, for such words affirm limitation. Speak instead as one who has already arrived. Use phrases of gratitude. I always have more than enough. Wealth flows easily into my life. I live in abundance now. These are not empty affirmations. They are declarations of identity. They train the subconscious to accept abundance as your truth. And once accepted, it must externalize. Let your actions reflect the millionaire identity, not through extravagance, but through confidence and generosity. When you act timidly, hesitating out of fear of lack, you reinforce poverty in consciousness. But when you act with calm assurance, when you give freely without fear, when you carry yourself as one who knows supply is infinite, you reinforce abundance. The millionaire you is not defined by possessions, but by the state of consciousness that produces them. Every challenge that arises is an opportunity to practice this identity. When a bill comes, do not react with worry but with gratitude, affirming that you have more than enough to cover it. When delays occur, do not complain but persist in the vision of wealth, knowing appearances are powerless before sustained conviction. Each test is a chance to prove your faith in imagination over appearances. The more you persist, the more natural the millionaire state becomes, until doubt has no power over you. Understand that the millionaire you does not need to be created, it already exists. All states exist in the eternal present, and you are free to occupy whichever you choose. The state of wealth, of abundance, of financial freedom is as real as the state of poverty. The difference lies only in which state you give your attention and acceptance. To shift from one to the other is as simple as shifting your focus, withdrawing it from lack and directing it to fulfillment. Do not postpone your wealth to the future, for the future never arrives. There is only now. To say one day I will be rich is to affirm that you are not rich now, and the subconscious accepts that as fact. Instead, assume the wealth now, live from it now, feel it now. The outer world will catch up, for it must mirror the state you occupy consistently. The millionaire you is not distant. It is here, within your imagination, within your consciousness, waiting for you to claim it. Each moment you dwell in this state, each time you speak from it, act from it, and persist in it, you are collapsing the distance between imagination and reality. Eventually, the line disappears, and what was once unseen stands before you as the tangible world you live in. The millionaire you is not a dream. It is a choice, a state, an identity already alive within you. And the moment you dare to assume it fully, life must reorganize itself to reveal what has always been yours.